Recently, there have been tools made available to the public making complex 3D analysis of the body more accessible. There were very few instruments in the past that have been developed which offer increased reliability of the shoulder assessment, but for the most part they've been very expensive and complicated to use. Traditionally, in the case of range of motion, for example, goniometers have been taught to be used for assessment, but they can only measure joint angles statistically and provide a low reliability and precision between individual instruments and users, which is an error that is compounded with patients who have decreased mobility. In this video, we are presenting two instruments on the market today that are designed to be both affordable and easy to use. The smartphone-based BB score is used in correlation with your Android or iOS device. The second is called the Dynaport Mini Mod, which is a self-contained mobile device.
The study we will be reviewing today in regards to assessment of the glenohumeral joint is the smartphone-based B&B score and its effectiveness. The background information on this assessment tool is that it can be used on any smartphone. It measures the symmetry between the unaffected and the affected side, as well as the velocity of movement and the range of motion. The smartphone is placed in a holder that is strapped to the arm approximately 3 centimeters above the olecranon. This study in regards to this tool is currently being used for multiple shoulder pathologies such as adhesive capsulitis, humerus fractures, rotator cuff tears, as well as shoulder instabilities. The smartphone-based B&B score is effective in measuring the progression of current shoulder pathologies through this study. This would be a very useful tool for RMTs that can be used for assessment and outcome measures. All the information can be transferred from the smartphone to a computer where it will show the results on tables, as you will see in the images to follow. This specific study that we are reviewing involves 20 healthy participants, the control group, 20 people with rotator cuff conditions, 23 people with humerus fractures, 22 clients with frozen shoulder, and 23 participants with shoulder instability. All participants were measured twice in a 6-month period. Once the phone was set up on the client's arm, they follow the instructions that are echoed through the phone speaker. They can also follow the therapist through these ranges of motion. They will go through 3 reps of each range of motion. The difference in measurement between the control group and the rotator cuff conditions, the humerus fractures, and the frozen shoulder were all significant as expected. This may suggest that this tool is an effective tool to be used when it comes to assessing the glenohumeral joint. The difference between the control group and the instability group were not, which is still being questioned. In conclusion, after reviewing this study on the smartphone B&B score, I think it could be very beneficial when it comes to assessment and outcome measures for RMTs and any healthcare practitioners. What do you think?
I will be presenting two different studies that evaluate the Dynaport's consistency and reliability in the clinical setting. In the first study, named Measurements of the Abducted Shoulder of the Upper Arm with 3D Sensors, an accurate measurement method, they compared active and passive range of motion in abduction with affected and unaffected sides of patients with cold shoulder complaints. First, the patients were measured of their affected side. The Dynaport established that their active range of motion was 97 degrees as a mean between them, and with passive range of motion, the Dynaport measured 105 degrees range of motion. Secondly, the unaffected side, the mean measurement taken by the Dynaport was 159 degrees active range of motion, and 165 degrees in passive range of motion. In conclusion, this measurement method can contribute to measure objectively in a very reproducible and easy manner the functional disability of a shoulder joint and results of innervations. In a second study named Objective Assessment, Repeatability and Agreement of Shoulder Range of Motion with a 3D Gyroscope, or the Dynaport device, was a study aimed at recording shoulder abduction, flexion, and rotation between 42 subjects who were given a 30-minute break between either taking measurements with the device or with a goniometer. A single examiner was used to increase reproducibility and reliability of the outcome measurements, and the information was analyzed using a linear mixed refresh model to perform statistical analysis. The results of this study showed significantly better repeatability for the Dynaport in abduction when compared to conventional goniometer. When the parameters of compared flexion, the goniometer provided to be equally reproducible within a 95% limit of agreement. These results show that statistic measurements with the DP or the Dynaport are more precise than that of conventional goniometers as a whole. In both studies, the Dynaport demonstrates clinically useful precision and reproducibility greater than goniometer in some cases. It is true that the Dynaport has limitations, but it is known that most tools we use will as examiners. Therefore, if used correctly, the Dynaport has great usefulness and relevance in shoulder assessment.